Okay, we're going to kind of discuss the early Austrian straight pull rifles, or the wedge locks, some people call them that. It started with the 1866, and what it was is they had a single shot rifle, much like everyone else did. The Austrian Empire was much larger than what the country of Austria is today, so it was a very large military force. And the idea of a straight pull or repeating rifle, with world history and how warfare changed and technology changed, repeaters were what everybody was pushing for, some sort of magazine-fed repeating rifle other than the single shot. So you had this giant arms race. The Verndl rifle was adopted in 1867 and was a single shot rifle. It was originally chambered in the 11.5 by 42 millimeter, which I believe was somewhat of a straight wall cartridge. And later, in 1877, they decided to chamber it in 11.15 by 58 millimeter. They made a bottleneck round, and I guess they just bored out the chambers for the new cartridge. So the 11.5 by 58R was the standard cartridge of the day. Okay, and here's a clip that goes into 1886 with these cartridges. They're black powder cartridge with a paper patch bullet. Okay, and 5 of them in the Mannlicher style clip, but these only go one way, unlike the others that go either or, like in the Gewehr 88 and in the Carcano. These only go one way, and you have the little finger grooves which you use to push down into the magazine. So that's what they started off with. Well, then, okay, we got a repeating rifle, but now we got to go to a small bore rifle, and the French already developed smokeless powder, and it was an 8 millimeter. So now the trend is to downsize bullet size and change the whole technology. And the Austrians did not have smokeless powder technology, so they made a cartridge, and this is where the difference is. These are 8 by 50 cartridges, which ended up using semi-smokeless powder, so these would be for the 1890. And these are 8 by 50. Now, they made another cartridge for the 1888. And the only difference would be that the case length is longer. It was an 8 by 52R is what they originally designed. So it's, I believe, very similar, except the case was longer because it was full of black powder. And this created two different things. The throat in the chamber is tapered in a way because you'll find that when you fire black powder in a cartridge, you get some weird buildup right at the mouth of the chamber. So that was elongated and tapered to help alleviate that problem with these small caliber bullets. And also, if you notice that this clip has a solid side, which basically it's just a miniaturized version of the earlier 11 millimeter Mannlicher clip. And I don't know when it went on. I have one here, the one we all familiar with for the 8 by 56 cartridge for the M95s. I think that's when they started using the open window clips. So with these, I believe with these types of rifles, this is the proper Mannlicher clip that goes in this 8 millimeter solid one. So as we go on with the 88, so they stopped producing the 11 millimeters, start making 88s, and then eventually they built whatever they didn't finish as 88s, but then again during World War I or whatever, when there was a shortage, they converted a lot of the 11 millimeters, and that's where you get that 1886/90. When they started running short of guns, they converted a lot of these that were around to the 88 style or 90 rifle. Okay, that's why it gets kind of confusing. This is all done. They changed it while they were producing the first gun to go to something, and then whatever was producing 11 millimeter later on, I guess during World War I, when they ran into some problems, they took all of these that were in reserve and started converting them in to use the 8x50 cartridge because they couldn't produce enough M95s to keep up with the demand. So this is where there's a lot of this mixed up parts, conversions and stuff. But be aware that there were two cartridges. So there was an 8x52 and an 8x50 was the one they developed with the semi-smokeless, smokeless in 1890. Henceforth, why they had to build another rifle with the strengthened chamber area and change the sights again. Okay, that's why. There was another cartridge in there. It's kind of lost to history. And you can fire, I guess, an 8x50 in there. You know, it's shorter. It's not longer, so it'll work. So let's take a look at the guns. I'll explain some other features or little things of how to tell if you have an 1886/90. Alright, so we have the 1886 here and the 1888. One's 11 millimeter, one is the 8 millimeter. So you take a measurement here, this distance, and if you look, if you can see it, maybe not, it's about 2 inches. 2 inches. And when you take a measurement on this one, it's about 1 3/4, if you can see it, or not. So 2 inches, and then on the 8 millimeter, it'll come up to 1 3/4. So that's how you can tell. If you take this measurement, it's 2 inches, and there's some kind of rivets. They'd probably be in the front or on the side or something. I don't have an example to show you. I just went by the description. That's how you could tell you have when it was converted to an 1890. Okay, that's one little tip and trick, is that measurement in this distance here, from here to the bottom. That would tell you. Alright, so when we look at all these rifles, just disregard the 1888-95 on the bottom there. It has a totally different sight. But they all look the same outwardly. Okay, and the big difference is how you can tell what is what. Alright, is first off, this one here, the top one, the 1886, it's obviously larger, bigger. This one's a little worn wear, but you see, like I said, the red flags on my 1888 and this can't get it to focus or get in close. You can't see it, but the Steyr marking is on the receiver, the witness mark, and I don't believe there is an acceptance date on the barrel on this one. Much like this one here. No acceptance date or whatever. And on this is a replacement barrel. There's not a date, but there's a letter or something stamped in there. This was like during the wartime emergency. So now we go to the sights. This is a look at the 1866. You see on the top that the number at the bottom is 3 and it goes to 15, and the other side I think it's 15 to 23 or something. It's hard to tell, it kind of got battered. Now when we go to the 1888, you see it's 5 down there to 17, and then 18 to 25. So this is where the big difference is because of the ammunition is in these the sights. Now this one here is irrelevant because it's using the 95 sights. So I'll go get a 8890 and we'll look at the sights there. But one thing before we do that, barrel shanks. If you notice the size of the barrel shank here on this 95, and you notice the size of the barrel shank there's a big difference. That's an 1890 barrel shank. That's what separates this and the sight distances. That's what separates that gun from the other model. I don't have a pure 1890 that has that wider shank. That's how you can tell. And see, same with the 86. Has a narrow shank there. Okay, let me go get an 8890. So here we have the 1888 on the top, 1890 on the bottom. You know, the guns are identical other than having the sights adjusted with a plate. So let me zoom in here. The 88. The 88. 5 on the bottom, 17 on the top on one side, 16 and 25. Now when we go down, you see that's added on. This is the full plate. The Bulgarian ones would have like a little half moon shorter plate. So there are different plates. And this one, we get it to focus, is 6 on the bottom, 18 on the top, 20 on the bottom there, and 30 there. So that's the difference, is just a trajectory changed and they had to up the numbers by 1. Now also, here we have an acceptance stamp on the barrel behind the sight. 1888, it was accepted. Okay. This one's missing all that. So, kind of like I said, come on, focus. The red flag thing there, something's amiss with that rifle there. And these have a volley sight, but I can't, all of them are secured, I can't pull them out. And then you would use that with the little post there on that, where that one's broke off. So that's the main difference. And also you can tell this is an 8890 from the barrel shank, which is thin, like that one. They don't have the barrel with the larger shank that's reinforced, and I don't have a rifle other than that 95 to show you what I'm talking about, but that's what you'd be looking for. If you had a rifle that didn't have the plate, had the wider shank, then you would know you have a straight up 1890 rifle. Alright, so other than those differences, that's the difference between an 88 and 8890. Like I said, we don't have a 90, so we can't get an exact, So this rifle here on the bottom, I've done a couple videos. I just checked the bore. It's not as nice as this one. And I fired some cast bullets out of it. And actually, I got a custom mold to make a weird bullet that fits in there and shoots well. But it's kind of crusty. Okay, there's strong rifling, but you know that fulminated mercury primers kind of, you know, wear on the barrel, but it's good. So we'll be able to go out and shoot these two fairly easily. I'll make up some ammo. I will make a video on how I make the ammo. Now this one here, I can't really make out 475, and I can't make out the symbol. It's been battered. This one here, I can. Let's see. $12B 200. Yeah, 12B rifle 200. Actually, this was the best example that I had out of all of them for a while until I got this. So you see, condition-wise, even though there are questions, condition-wise, this one here is better. So if anything, we'll get to shoot this more. I may even go to where I powder coat the bullets and that. And one more thing before we get going further here. Serial numbers. Okay, the 8895 has a serial number in a weird place, but a serial number no less. This Royal Tiger 8890 has a serial number. Now when we go up to the 86s, the cut down one has that, and that little 2 symbol behind the serial number means that this rifle was made for foreign export. That's what that means. And here's the one on the also the other 86 serial number there. Now, like I said, on the new 88 red flag, no serial number, which is unusual. Where on this 8890, serial number is there. So that just about does it for my explanation of how you can tell the different models apart. So I'm still missing, I guess, 2 to have a complete collection. A straight up 1890 and an 8690. One that has been converted from the earlier gun with the large trigger guard and modification. I don't know how hard that will be to find those. Probably impossible. But, you know, I was waving around that certificate of authenticity from Royal Tiger. Let's look at that weapon that I got from them. Alright, here is my certificate of authenticity from Royal Tiger for a 1888 Mannlicher Steyr 636B October. And there's the signature of the man himself, Uli. Okay, Royal Tiger, Ethiopian flag. How wonderful. Well, let's take a look at the gun. I believe this was an A grade because they didn't have the B and the C's. So, first off, we'll check the serial number to verify that we're not trying to hide things here. 366B. It is there. One thing we had, a little crack here in the wrist. Didn't really fool with this. A couple of them nifty little diamond things, and after the wire brushing, don't know if there was a unit marking or nothing on there. These are when they wire brush, and that's why I got a nice shiny appearance. And this is a this is an 8890. If this focuses long enough, we can see, and 1890 she was issued. It wasn't complete. I think I had to get a safety and an extractor for it. But I think these were when they were wire brushing them. And then everybody got worked up and told them to stop doing that. You know, wire brushing the guns. But the bore on this is bad. Oh, and the reason I brought this up is because this was back in the early days of Royal Tiger, and I paid like $575 for this gun. Okay, and it's in bad shape, you know, wire brushed, overpaid way too much for it. The bore, like from the muzzle, it's out of round and that, and there is some trace of rifling in there, but I mean it's barely in there, and it's black, barbecued and that, and you know, really not much. And I had to buy parts to get it to go together. Now when you compare it to my recent acquisition here, the 88, where I got about 720 in it. Okay, you guys want to talk about prices? You know, I got rooked into $575 for the one on the top with no bore in that. It's complete. Granted, it must, like I said, an A grade. It doesn't have the Ethiopian sling mounts where they drill holes through the damn rifle stock, and it's a big difference. The one on the bottom I can shoot. I mean, that bore is beautiful. That alone makes it worth the money. But that's just to give you guys an idea on prices and that. And the stock's not cracked on the 88 at the wrist. So, there you go. But I do have a certificate of authenticity for the one on the top. Alright, gentlemen, hit the like button, subscribe, stay tuned, become a member, or join Patreon, whatever you feel like. Alright?